It's night 22, and back at camp, Kiana and Clever chat as they are both annoyed with Neil and Nicola for flipping. Kiana says that they claimed they wouldn't vote another Kunjan this round, but that also doesn't set them up for the round after and so on. Clever doesn't trust Neil anymore and Kiana says the same. She even admits to Clever that she would vote him out this round if they get Allison and Telly on board. They can warn Allison that Neil, Cindy, and B. Marie will strike at her this round and then that will force her to flip. Clever asks Kiana how she feels about Ryan, and Kiana thinks he will stay loyal to Telly. As long as they flip over Telly, Ryan will flip too. That makes it 5 votes, which is enough to eliminate him this round. Clever likes the sound of this and says they'll go make their rounds with people now. Meanwhile, Neil, Nicola, Ryan, and Cindy chat together, and Neil admits he's nervous to go and talk to Telly because she's really upset with him. Nicola says the same, so Cindy tells them it doesn't matter what Telly thinks. She just showed her true loyalty, so they can just stay strong and go after her, Kiana, and Clever. Neil agrees and says he'd rather take out Clever next because if he votes Telly this round, she will never vote for him at the end as a juror. Cindy says that's fine since Clever is untrustworthy anyway. Ryan claims they need to keep this on the down low in case of an idle play. Telly and Clever talk about the flip that included Nicola and Neil, and Telly feels really off about them now. Clever fills Telly in on Kiana's plan to take out Neil this round because they can get Ryan and Allison on board to form a 5. If Neil is really going after Allison this round, they can tip her off, which forces her to vote him out. Telly says she'll talk to Kiana about this. Nothing is said until they approach Ryan and Allison. Nicola then joins in, so Telly sits down and makes herself look visibly annoyed in front of her. Nicola apologizes to Telly and Clever for flipping. She really didn't want to make this flip happen, but she didn't want to go to rocks. Neil really strong-armed her at Tribal Council. Telly asks Nicola if she's still with Kunjan, and Nicola says she really is. She doesn't have loyalty with the other side. In fact, she can reveal now that they want to vote Clever out. Neil is also part of that plan, but she's unsure if he was only telling Cindy and Ryan what they wanted to hear. Maybe Ryan was also faking it in front of Cindy. Telly says they need to take out Cindy or B. Marie instead of Neil. She fills in Nicola that Kiana wants Neil out, but it's too soon for them. They need to break up the Okunjan trio. Nicola agrees and says their best vote plan is Cindy since she's much closer to Neil than B. Marie is. Later on, Neil sits with Telly to check up on her, and Telly immediately expresses how pissed she is at him. Neil doesn't understand why she's so frustrated with him when they are supposed to play the middle. The whole point is to pick off people from both sides, and Allison is the next target for them this round like he promised. Telly brings up how he had a chat with Cindy not too long ago to vote Clever, but Neil says it was a decoy plan in front of Cindy. He doesn't really think Clever should go. The two begin to argue back and forth, with Telly continuing to bring up how he hindered her game by making her look dumb at Tribal Council. The plan was supposed to be Cindy and not Divin. Neil says though that the whole point of this middle alliance is to avoid getting caught as the middle alliance. They have to play both sides, which means the alliance needs to split up at times. Telly is so frustrated that she decides to walk off, telling Neil she'd rather just talk with him in the morning. It's day 23 in the game, and everyone finds out that the auction is making a return. Justin explains that everyone will have $500 in their wallets. They can bid for items in $20 increments. Whoever wins the bid will gain the item. The auction will end without warning, so everyone should try bidding for something on time. With that, Justin brings out the first item, and says it'll remain hidden. Kiana bids $40, and Cindy follows up with $60. However, no one else bids, so she quickly ends the bidding with $60 for the hidden item. Justin uncovers nothing but air, meaning Cindy just won nothing. She claims she's alright though because she still has a lot of money left. The next item up for grabs is fresh clothes. Nicola bids $100, and Allison bids $120, claiming she just wants to add to her clothing collection. Nicola then jumps up to $340, which surprises everyone. Nobody else bids, so Nicola wins it for $340. Everyone claps for her and she heads up to grab her new clothes. She later switches into them and shows everyone the outfit, and they all love it. On to the next item, it's bacon and eggs. Nicola bids $160, the last of her money. Nobody else bids, so Nicola is the first person who won 2 items and is at $0 left. She grabs a portion instead of the whole thing and goes back to her seat to eat her food. Justin then claims that the next item will remain hidden once again. Clever bids $20, and Kiana follows up with $60. Cindy yells out $100, and Clever goes up to $120. Nobody says anything for a few seconds, but Cindy then yells $200. B. Marie takes a massive leap to $400, which shocks everyone, but Kiana goes up to $440. Clever decides to bid $460, and nobody else goes up anymore, so Clever wins it. They head up to Justin, and before revealing what's inside, Justin says they can take this or they can opt for some sugar cookies. Clever takes a moment to think and turns to the rest, asking them what they think. B. Marie says they should go for the cookies, so Clever goes for the cookies. Justin reveals what Clever missed out on, and it was an extra vote. Clever gasps and hunches over, finding it unfortunate that they missed out on an advantage. Neil and B. Marie smile from the sidelines, relieved that they missed out on it. Clever sits down and turns to Nicola, asking her if she's enjoying her food, but she doesn't notice them talking to her. Justin then brings out the next item, and it's an advantage in the next immunity challenge. Clever bids $40, but nobody else raises the bid. Justin is surprised and claims that Clever won it. They will get to read their advantage tomorrow before the challenge begins. Justin brings out the next item, and it's hidden. Kiana bids $60, B. Marie bids $80, and Kiana goes up to $100. B. Marie hesitates to go up again, but she goes with $120. Kiana doesn't bid anymore, so Justin confirms B. Marie won the item. She heads up and finds out she won garlic noodles and soda, and she cheers, claiming garlic noodles are one of her favorites. She sits back down with her food and drink, and Justin reveals the next item up for grabs. It is a phone call from home. However, it has a set cost to it of $500. The only people with $500 are Kiana, Allison, Neil, Ryan, and Telly. However, none of them budge, and Justin is once again surprised. Justin asks them what they are really waiting for, and Allison admits she's waiting for a special advantage in the game that isn't just for immunity. Justin then reveals the next item, that being an immunity necklace only good for this round, and Neil bids $500 right away. Since he was first, he wins the item. Justin hands him the immunity necklace, confirming he is safe this round and will not be voted off. Justin then confirms that this was the 8th and final item, so the auction is now closed. Everyone else is bummed, and Justin tells them to head back to camp, so they do. At camp, Cindy talks to Allison and expresses how relieved she is that Clever didn't win an extra vote at the auction. It could have messed up their plans since the votes could be close once again this round. Allison thinks they have a great shot at Clever now, especially since nobody on the other side won the auction immunity necklace. They just need to ensure they lose at tomorrow's immunity challenge to ensure everything goes to plan. The more paranoid the other side is, the better. Nicola then chats with B. Marie, telling her how uncomfortable her outfit is, but it is what it is. B. Marie feels bad and tells her that everybody stinks here, so she shouldn't worry about how her other clothes smell. Nicola then gets into game mode, asking B. Marie if she has any trust issues with anyone from the alliance they have. B. Marie tells her no, but they also need to start thinking of making big moves to impress the jury. Right now, Rokio and Divin are salty at almost everyone except the few people on the outs, which are Clever, Kiana, and Telly. Although it would be easy to get rid of one of them tomorrow night, it might be wiser to blindside someone from their own majority when they least expect it. B. Marie lays her game plan all down for Nicola, first telling her that she wants her to trust her the most moving forward, along with Telly of course since the three of them are a tight-knit group. Nicola likes this trio and lets B. Marie explain her thought process. B. Marie thinks they could potentially pull a blindside on Ryan because he's getting the least amount of heat for any move they make, so he's a major jury threat at the end. Nicola is surprised to hear his name and says they need to be careful and consider all factors and variables before striking. It might be easier to take out Clever at the end of the day, and people might naturally want to do that over getting Ryan out right now. B. Marie knows this Ryan move will greatly improve how the jury perceives the two of them and Telly. If they can get a few others on board, that's all the votes they'll need. Nicola says she'll keep this plan to herself and let B. Marie do the convincing so she herself doesn't mess anything up. It's the 23rd night, and Nicola immediately rats out B. Marie to Ryan, telling him that she is starting to look his way. Ryan's mouth gapes as he hears this and doesn't know what to say. Nicola promises she said this and it isn't made up, so Ryan tells Nicola that they need to make the move against those three girls right now. It's locked in at this point that B. Marie or one of her allies need to go. Nicola agrees and asks if they should vote out B. Marie, and Ryan thinks that's their best shot right now. She's showing signs of voting out their middle alliance, so they need to silence that threat. Ryan then goes to talk to Kiana and Allison, asking them if they heard B. Marie spreading his name out. Neither of them claim to have heard his name, and Kiana asks him if he's sure B. Marie really said his name, and he says he's sure of it. It's possible she's waiting to tell other people tomorrow before tribal council. Allison tells Ryan that if this is true, nobody will be on board with it. It shocks her that B. Marie is the one saying his name. Ryan says that B. Marie will have to watch out because she's playing with fire. All the while, B. Marie doesn't know her plan got ratted out, and she tells Neil and Cindy this plan to vote Ryan out. Neil thinks it's way too risky and that they should really just focus on taking Clever out. Cindy agrees and tells B. Marie she's overthinking things. Ryan isn't a threat. He's a number. Meanwhile, Clever, Kiana, and Telly are their remaining threats. In fact, they should probably reconsider their voting plan and just vote Kiana since she's much more of a strategic threat than Clever. Neil says no though and claims that Clever needs to go to avoid any idle plays from screwing them up. Later on, Neil catches up with Kiana, telling her he still hasn't forgotten about their final two. Kiana knows and says she never thought about flipping on him. She then warns him that Clever has been hinting as his name lately, so he needs to work on his relationship with Clever now. Neil is stunned to hear this and thanks her for informing him. Kiana smiles in response, knowing very well that she just twisted the truth as she was the one pushing for his name and Clever just went along with it. Neil tells Kiana that his true intentions this round is to take out Allison. However, if Clever continues to spread his name out there tomorrow, he might have to flip and vote Clever out. Kiana understands and says she just wants him to ensure she's safe with Cindy, B. Marie, and Allison if they are voting out Clever. Neil promises and says she has nothing to worry about. He's been making sure they keep targeting Clever and hasn't told them about their idol. It's now day 24, so it's time for the immunity challenge. Allison returns her necklace to Justin and he begins explaining the challenge rules. In this challenge, everyone will have their own turn to memorize a tile board with images on each tile, and then they must answer 5 questions based on the board in the quickest time possible. If they get even a single question wrong, they are out of the running for immunity. The player who answers all 5 questions correctly the fastest will win immunity, safe from tonight's vote. Since Clever won an advantage at yesterday's auction, they will get 7 questions instead of 5, meaning they can technically get 2 questions wrong and their first 5 correct answers will count based on the timer. Justin then tells Neil that he will sit out today since he already won an immunity necklace at yesterday's auction. The challenge begins with Nicola heading up first, so she takes the time to answer the questions carefully. For each question, the players need to pull out a piece of paper from the correct colored pot. Nicola ends up getting the first 4 questions right, but she answers the 5th one incorrectly, meaning she is out of this challenge. Ryan is next up and has the same result, getting the first 4 questions right but getting the last one incorrect since he was rushing. Telly is up next and she only gets the first 3 questions right. She got the 4th question wrong since she was also rushing, so she's out of this challenge. Kiana is up next and she carefully pulls from each colored pot with the correct answers. She is the first to successfully get all 5 questions right and her time is locked in. B. Marie is up next and pays close attention to the board since she really wants this immunity. She does really well and gets all 5 questions right pretty quickly, so her time is locked in and will be revealed after everyone finishes. Allison's turn is next and she reads all the questions first and answers them in her head. Once she does for all 5, she pulls out the pieces of paper in the order of the questions and locks in her time with all 5 being correct. Cindy is next up and she breezes through the first 2 questions. However, she gets the 3rd one wrong, so she is out of this challenge. The last person up is Clever. They have 2 extra questions, so they can get 2 of them wrong and still continue this challenge. Their time will lock in as soon as they get 5 questions correct. Clever does a really good job, answering the first 5 questions correctly anyway and not needing the other 2 questions. Later on, Justin gathers everyone to the mat so he can reveal the results. 4 people ended up finishing this challenge with their time locked in. Those people are Kiana, B. Marie, Allison, and Clever. With a time of 2 minutes and 37 seconds, Allison comes in 4th place. In 3rd place with a time of 1 minute and 2 seconds is Kiana. That leaves B. Marie and Clever. One of them finished in 50 seconds, and the other finished in just 42 seconds. The winner of this challenge with a time of 42 seconds is Clever. Clever covers their face and cries tears of joy, and everyone congratulates them for this win. Justin calls them over so he can place the necklace on them, and Clever smiles with tears streaming down their face. Justin confirms they will not go home tonight. As for everyone else, someone will be the 14th person voted out of second chances and become the 3rd juror. With that, everyone heads back to camp and Kiana hugs Clever the whole way back. Back at Jan camp, Kiana and Clever chat. Kiana is so proud of Clever, telling them she hasn't felt so excited for them in this game. Clever finds this so sweet and laughs about how rocky their relationship has been for the beginning portion of the game. Kiana admits she never saw them working together, but the swap really brought them closer together. Clever and Kiana then cry a little bit, having an emotional moment together. Clever promises Kiana they will never cross her and wants to reach Final 3 with her, and she says the same thing back. For tonight's vote, this is a perfect opportunity for them to take out a huge threat. Clever tells Kiana they shouldn't vote out Neil just yet. They might need to take out B. Marie since she's this good in challenges, but Kiana thinks Cindy is more of a challenge beast than her. They've had a lot of memory-related challenges which B. Marie is great at, but they will most definitely get physical challenges coming up, so they need Cindy gone first in her opinion. Clever tells her they should continue weighing up their options and maybe hear out some other people before confirming their decision. Meanwhile, Cindy, Allison, Telly, and Neil come together, with Cindy and Allison wondering what Neil and Telly are thinking about for tonight. Cindy says she has been feeling like there is a clear plan B here, and that's Kiana. She's really close to Clever, so they need to split them up. Neil looks at Telly, seeing that she doesn't seem thrilled with that vote. Allison then chimes in and says she actually had another idea in mind, and although it pains her to say this, she is worried about their alliance crumbling with B. Marie in it. She admits that Ryan has been saying that B. Marie is trying to blindside their alliance to take out Ryan, probably using Kiana and Clever as votes, and then getting her and Nicola in as the fourth and fifth votes. Cindy looks at Neil and tells Allison that her and Neil were already told about this Ryan plan, but they told her not to go through with it. However, it's now clear that B. Marie is still committing to this plan, so that might be dangerous for them. Telly stays quiet the whole time, so Cindy asks Telly for her opinion, and she says she's gonna do whatever they want. Cindy can tell Telly is still bitter towards this group from the last vote, but she simply just says that they might need to vote out B. Marie. It kills her because B. Marie is a great friend, but if she's playing a messy game, she needs to go. Allison sighs and says it has to happen, so they all lock in for B. Marie as the target tonight. Telly later goes to Ryan and hugs him, telling him that there's now a new plan, and it's to get rid of B. Marie. Ryan asks who is starting that plan up, and she name drops Cindy. Ryan laughs and says that it's pretty crazy how quick Cindy is to flip on her. Telly says she actually would rather want Cindy out tonight because it's becoming very apparent that her, Neil, and Allison are a trio within this big majority alliance. Ryan isn't thrilled to target Cindy though because there's a clear shot at B. Marie who has said his own name. Telly knows it's hard to keep B. Marie around, but she's a clear target for everyone moving forward. Ryan nods and says it would be a huge blindside to take out Cindy. Telly even thinks she can convince B. Marie to vote out Cindy if she reveals to her that she's after her. Ryan smiles and says he's ready to pull the trigger on Cindy tonight, so they should commit to this plan. Telly hugs Ryan again and says she's ready to get her revenge because of what Neil did to her last tribal. Telly later sees Nicola and Clever chatting, and B. Marie is leaving their conversation, so Telly jogs over to their conversation and acts like she's getting a book. She turns to Nicola and Clever and tells them she has a crazy plan in mind for tonight. Clever and Nicola look at Telly, wondering what it is. Telly first asks them what they think the plan is for tonight, and Nicola says they just talked with B. Marie and didn't get much out of her. They are under the impression though that she wants to take a shot at Ryan, but she's not being clear about that in their conversations. Telly then says Ryan isn't going anywhere tonight. In fact, Cindy proposed an idea to take out B. Marie. Nicola and Clever drop their jaws in reaction to this, and Clever cannot believe Cindy is turning on her own ally so brutally. Telly says that Cindy is a threat because she's close to Neil and Allison and will always get their support. This is why Cindy has to go tonight to break up that trio. Clever says this sounds amazing. Nicola breathes out and says it's a pretty big move. It just sucks they have to leave Neil out of it. Telly tells Nicola to stop trusting Neil because he's done with Kunjan. He's moving forward in this game with Cindy and Allison. Clever agrees with Telly's claim and tells Nicola they need this move. They need Cindy out tonight. Nicola admits she would rather take out B. Marie since she's less trustworthy in general, but Telly says that B. Marie is a target later on anyway. Neil will never turn on Cindy, but he will turn on B. Marie clearly. Nicola puts her hands on her neck, visibly worried about this move. Cindy later approaches Kiana and Nicola to let them know about this new plan to blindside B. Marie. She explains how people feel very weird around her now, ever since she tried to pull off a move against Ryan. It just doesn't sit well with people. Kiana is surprised to hear B. Marie's name in the mix and tells Cindy that as long as it's not her own name, she is totally okay voting B. Marie tonight. Nicola says she has wanted B. Marie out for a few days now, so this works perfectly for them. Cindy says they have the numbers. She even tells Kiana she can fill in Clever if she wants. It might be a unanimous vote after all. Kiana nods and says she'll definitely chat with Clever about it. Cindy then leaves the two alone, and Nicola fills in Kiana that this vote is much more complicated than what Cindy thinks. That's because Telly is trying to pull a move against Cindy, and she has gotten Clever on board already. It's to split up the alleged trio of Allison, Neil, and Cindy. Kiana's eyes light up and says she would actually love to pull off a move against Cindy because she's running this game. She's really close to Allison, so they'll never get her on board to flip on Cindy. They have the numbers to do it now, so they may as well. They can get B. Marie on side and Cindy is out 6-3, as long as Ryan is down for it. Nicola admits she's worried that they are leaving B. Marie in this game for too long. She's known to be manipulative and she might have something secret going on with Telly. Telly was super quick to save B. Marie today and instead go for Cindy, so those two might be a secret duo. They work together on season 2 after all. Kiana says she has a good point, and she never really thought about their possible secret duo. She tells Nicola she'll try prying out more information from B. Marie to see who she really feels good with. Kiana quickly goes to find B. Marie, asking her if she's aware of what's going on tonight. B. Marie claims she's unsure because Clever was an obvious target going into Tribal, but they are now safe. Kiana asks B. Marie if she heard any names from anyone, and B. Marie says that she only knows Ryan is on the chopping block. Kiana asks her who said Ryan's name, and B. Marie claims that most people on the tribe said his name, clearly lying because she was actually the one to start spreading his name out. Kiana feels like she's getting nothing out of this conversation, so she decides to spill that Cindy is trying to take her out tonight. B. Marie doesn't react, thinking Kiana is lying to her. B. Marie asks her what reason Cindy came up with, and Kiana says it's because she's trying to vote Ryan out. B. Marie acts a bit surprised, but still doesn't believe Kiana fully. Kiana tells her that there's a new plan to blindside Cindy tonight, so they want her to be part of it. The only people left out are Neil and Allison. B. Marie claims she'll think about it as she wants to have chats with other people before making that decision. Ryan later approaches B. Marie, telling her that he knows she has been going after him this round. B. Marie finds this really awkward and asks him what made him think she's after him, and Ryan claims that Cindy is the one telling him this. Cindy wants her out tonight, so it's probably wise for her to flip on Cindy tonight. B. Marie is stunned, starting to believe that Cindy is really after her. She just can't understand why her closest ally is doing this to her. Ryan tells B. Marie that it's going to be a 6-3 on Cindy tonight, so he wants her to be part of it. He just wants her to stop going after him and instead focus on the trio of Cindy, Allison, and Neil going forward. B. Marie apologizes to Ryan for any mistrust between them and says she's trying to process all this information about Cindy now. With this information in mind, B. Marie sits next to Neil as they prepare to silently read together, and B. Marie cannot stop laughing to herself. Neil asks her what's up, and she tells Neil that she's really confused and suddenly scared for tonight. She was just told by Kiana and Ryan that Cindy is trying to go after her tonight, and that him and Allison are part of that. It's apparently supposed to be a 6-3 vote against Cindy, and he's part of the 3. Neil squints and says he was never included in that conversation to take B. Marie out, so that's clearly a lie. B. Marie tells Neil she really hopes it's a lie because she couldn't believe it that Cindy would try to take her out. Neil says that it's obviously been a worry for people that she's trying to take out Ryan, but he never heard her name as a target. B. Marie shrugs and says they could still try going for Ryan if he's really just making this stuff up to protect himself. Neil then tells her that it might not work if there's already 5 votes on Cindy tonight. B. Marie feels really fishy about Cindy though and is finding it hard to trust anyone now. Before Tribal Council, Cindy sits down with Nicola for a game of chess. As they play, Cindy asks Nicola if she's still locked in for the B. Marie blindside tonight. Nicola struggles to speak, making Cindy start to question her. She asks Nicola if something's wrong, and Nicola breathes out and stares at Cindy. It's night 24, and everyone makes it to the Tribal Council area. They sit down and Justin introduces them to their brand new juror, Divin, who is sitting next to Rokio. Justin welcomes Jan to their 4th merged Tribal Council, asking Kiana how she feels now that they are only 6 days away from the final Tribal Council. Kiana admits she finds it wild how close they are to the finale, yet there are still 9 of them in the game. Allison chimes in and says that this game will start to ramp up, which also includes the gameplay. People are no longer comfortable because big moves are bound to be made. B-Marie side-eyes Allison, and Justin then asks B-Marie if she thinks the gameplay has ramped up this round. B-Marie admits she has been feeling very off today during her conversations with people. She's just really confused by the events that have unfolded. In fact, she thinks she could very well be the third juror tonight. Cindy's neck twists to the right as she stares at B-Marie. B-Marie continues that she thought she was going to have an easy night tonight, but she's finding it really tough. Justin then asks Neil if he is finding tonight's vote tough, and he says he is. He feels like people are starting to lie more and more, which scares him. He feels like there are people trying to lie in this game to protect themselves, possibly because they feel like they could be the ones going home. Justin claims that the gameplay this season feels very dynamic, so he asks Cindy if that's true, and she says it very well is dynamic. Things might seem clear-cut, but nothing is actually that easy. Justin then asks Telly if she thinks people are thinking more about their individual games as they move forward, and Telly says everyone is for sure thinking about themselves more rather than thinking about their alliance members. Of course, you still need to look out for those you are really close with, but nobody is looking out for more than 3 people. That time has ended because there are not that many people remaining. Ryan agrees and says he's the type of person who will always look out for the people he feels very, very close with. As for everyone else, they might be the people who try to take him out down the line, so he can't put so much trust in them. B-Marie breathes out and covers her face, very nervous tonight. Justin asks Nicola if she knows how tonight will play out, or if she's unsure because of how dynamic the gameplay has been lately. Nicola says she wants to think she knows who is going, but you are never sure in this game. She doesn't want to vote incorrectly tonight, but she also wants to play her own game and vote the person she feels isn't good for her individual game. It's just hard to balance because everyone has their own opinions. B-Marie continues to feel nervous, and Justin lets the group know that it's time to vote, so they all prepare for it.
I'll tally the votes. If anyone has a hidden immunity idol and they want to play it, now would be the time to do so. Alright, I'll read the votes. First vote. B-Marie. Cindy. That's 1 vote B-Marie, 1 vote Cindy. B-Marie. 2 votes B-Marie. Cindy. We're tied. 2 votes B-Marie, 2 votes Cindy. Cindy. 3 votes Cindy, 2 votes B-Marie. Cindy. That's 4 votes Cindy, 2 votes B-Marie. 14th person voted out of Survivor Second Chances and the 3rd member of our jury. Cindy.
Cindy gets up, amazed that she got 7 votes. Kiana and Clever smile at the blindside, and B-Marie struggles to sit still, relieved she didn't go. All the while, Allison feels really awkward being the only one left out of this blindside. Cindy puts down her torch next to Justin and watches her torch get snuffed. She thanks Justin and turns to the rest, thanking them for such a great experience on this second chance season. They all clap for Cindy and B. Marie yells out that she loves her. Cindy shows a heart to everyone and makes her way out. Justin then tells the remaining 8 to head back to camp, and they all follow through. Next time on Survivor's Second Chances. With Allison on the outs of the last vote, she fights for her own survival, doing whatever she can to avoid being the next massive target. But, in the background, a plan brews to take out one of this season's biggest players. Will this plan succeed? You do not want to miss out on the next episode since there will be 2 rounds instead of just 1, meaning we will go from 8 players to just 6 by the end of it. Who will reach the final stretch of the game? And who will flop? Find out on Thursday's nail-biting episode. Cindy's final thoughts. Cindy is very surprised that her name appeared on the parchments tonight. She really thought it was between Ryan and B. Marie, and she assumed everyone would vote B. Marie out due to her messy gameplay the last few days. She's starting to regret throwing B. Marie's name out there because people probably used that as ammo to take herself out. She now wishes she just stuck to the Ryan plan so B. Marie would get more heat on her. Cindy thinks there are a lot of good gamers in this remaining batch of players, so she wants to see one of those gamers win the game. Overall, Cindy is happy she got out in a blindside. She never saw it coming, especially after her chat with Nicola, who pretended to feel really bad that B. Marie was going home tonight.